This video should appeal to the two types of people I think there are in the world. People who want to be a writer and people who think that writing is for someone else.
Yeah.
I think this should appeal to both because I'm going to try and make the case that the second group doesn't actually exist and that there's a gremlin put into their head, which hopefully will try and liberate you from, so that everyone's a writer. Because why not? You've got your stories and your experiences, right? There's often a block or a barrier that will not let people identify with the term writer. Yeah. I think part of the video is going to be spent breaking that barrier down. Yeah.
When I'm guessing you identify as a writer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comfortably, happily.
Yeah. And when I think of writer, I might think of a book or a fiction or journaling. Is there a type?
So I think of myself as a writer because of a few key reasons. Number one, I actually love writing.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I think if you enjoy the process and you want to keep getting better at it, then you are the identity of that type of activity. Yeah. So that applies to things like if you're an athlete, you're trying to get better at your sport. Yeah. And you're putting time into it. If you're a writer, you're continually on the process. Along the way, maybe you'll write things that people will read a lot. Maybe you won't. But the first and foremost reason is I wanted to learn how to enjoy writing, and I have done that. So I do enjoy the process of writing in different forms. So I identify as a writer because of that. Secondly, there are lots of different things I have written, and they include things like peer-reviewed journal articles, a PhD thesis, lots of songs and lyrics for songs, poems, and they've all been different expressions. And in the future, I'm hopefully going to try my hand at writing a screenplay as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or a play. But the ideas are swimming around already. And each way of doing this has just been thoroughly enjoyable. And there's really there's no reason not to. Yeah. Because I think everyone does have unique stories, perspectives, and insights. And if they're written in their particular style, maybe with a bit of humour, maybe with a bit of panache, maybe even some darkness, why not write it? Yeah. And it doesn't really matter how many people read it. I think the process of doing it and getting better at it is the key thing.
Yeah. It's interesting. Screenwriting, you said. Like, when I think of writer...
That's in the future.
Yeah. When I think of writer, I think of stuff like writing a book or a screenplay, something like that. That feels like somewhere I don't want to go, and that feels quite way off for me. But there's stuff like writing songs, poems, writing shorter things. I love that. To me, they feel quite separate.
But there's the beauty of it. You can write anything, and so long as you realise this is what I'm doing, I'm writing. And then as you get, I think that as you get more experience and enjoyment, and maybe even you get better at doing one, you're more likely to try your hand at others. Yeah. And I don't think I would have started off with thinking about writing a screenplay had I not have written songs, poems, journal articles, or a PhD thesis first. For me, I had to go in that direction. I'm like, why not? Because I clearly can write it.
But then, like, for me, those seem really arduous and big. I like to remind myself that there's like things like haikus, which is a 5-word poem. That feels more accessible for...
But exactly, it's all still writing.
It's still writing, yeah.
And this perception of what is it doesn't really matter. Yeah. It doesn't have to be 100,000 words, 200, 300,000 words. It could be 5 words.
And some of these Zen koans that you get are very, very short.
Exactly.
But they kind of there's some answer to the universe in them, so that's...
Yeah. And that's the beauty of writing. Actually, you can apply it to absolutely anything. With the tools that we've got, LLM as your in-house editing team, your journal, of your blog, of whatever, and LLM, you can just get it to keep coming back with different parts of copy. And you say, I like this, make it more like this. That's what happens at publishing houses anyway.
Yeah, but that's interesting. You're being the editor. Like, I see it as the editor. So I go, what do you think is my poem? And I go, it's amazing, Chris, every time. As it chats.
So you can be both, right? You can be copywriter in the first place. You can give it the first draft.
Yeah.
Then it comes back, and then you can have this back and forth. But what I'm getting at is there's so many tools now with which to write.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some of the different tools as well as LLMs later. But yeah, there's so much to cover about just write it. Now going back to the other group, so let's see if I can break this barrier down. I think there is a writer in everyone, and there's a common aphorism. There's one good book in everyone, and I do believe that, because, like I said, everyone's got their stories and perspectives, and I think that when people resist the term writer or think, well, that'll never be me, I think that comes from an internalized or inherited gremlin.
Yeah.
Something somewhere has told them, this is not for you. What you gave me was not good enough. And you should not consider doing this again. And it might have just been an overworked teacher with loads of homework to mark. And by the time they had the 25th book to read, they're just like, I can't cope with this many errors when I've told this student. But you can see how the context can change the creativity of what a 5 to 7 year old might do.
So you're saying, so I can see that if someone tries to put pen to paper and there's that blockage, bit of inner critic or even that negative, what am I doing? Like, where do I start? That's maybe a bit of anxiety. I can see that. But you're also saying that there might be a blockage before that where people won't think about it.
Won't even try. Go to the table, won't get a book out, won't get a pen. Because it's not for them, it's for other people. It's for other people who are more clever. It's for other people who have had a better opportunity or education.
Well, also, like, people's experiences of reading and writing might be bad. Even if they've had a good education, they might have had really pushed to like read and pushed to write in a horrible ways. So people might have this expectation that reading and writing is uncomfortable.
Oh, please. And please put this in the comments if you happen to be one of this group I'm going to talk about. During my PhD, the number of people I spoke to who were on the other side, having completed their thesis, the majority would say that writing their PhD thesis was the worst experience of their life. They hated it, and they'd never, ever do it again.
Okay.
And I went about it in a way that I don't want to go through the worst experience of my life. Is there a way that I can use the tools and the workshops and things available to enjoy the process? And thankfully it was the case.
That's good.
I think they've clearly got aptitude and have done a lot of work. So why is it that their experiences were almost always negative? I think it's because the writing part of it, or the teaching how to write, got overlooked. I remember getting such great advice of, you just have to write it. Well, clearly if that was so effective, then all of the other PhD students you've ever had wouldn't be moaning about it. But there's much more to it than just get on with it. So I totally agree. The writing experiences, the reading experiences can be quite problematic. And that stops you from even thinking about getting to the desk, opening up your computer or getting some paper out. You've already written yourself off. Like, this is not for me, this is for other people. And I want to say that maybe have a little think about who put that in there. Especially in early formative years. Sometimes a busy teacher can say things that linger with you, or a stressed parent might say things that they don't remember anymore. But whilst you were showing your green shoots of creativity, maybe seemed a bit like, well, I'm not doing that again. Well, the bit I found interesting is that, like, I would say everyone wants to be a creator, not like creating content, but people want to be an entrepreneur, or they want to go forward with careers, or create a family, or generally life's about creating. And it seems that we're either consuming social media or that thing, or trying to create in that way that's like building a business, or is it material in the world? This inner way, which I think could be like, not manifesting, but a creative consciousness when you're writing. You're trying stuff out. It feels like an in-between place. It's not consuming, it's not creating
it is creating the world, but it's not just moving material around.
It's the unique expression, right? I've been massively influenced in the last few years. Currently, I'm reading Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, which is having a huge impact on me. It's a great book.
Yeah.
And in it, she makes exactly the same case that you do, that it's almost, it's pretty strongly worded, it's almost your duty to create.
Yeah.
It's your, and whilst sometimes for the economic machine that can be put down, like, that's not really, it's not going to get you the money, it's not going to pay the taxes, it's not what society needs. She makes the other argument, like, that is just the externalized gremlins taken hold, so that at best it gets minimized to a hobby.
Yeah.
I can do this in my spare time, but it's not serious. But she says, no, this is your duty. This is part of what you're here to do, is to create. And there's an amazing track by Kelly Lee Owens called The Quickening. She's put it so beautifully. She describes in it how your unique configuration as your history, your particular you-ness will never, ever occur in this infinite universe ever again.
Yeah.
So you've either got this chance to express yourself or it'll be lost forever.
Yeah. And I think meaning only comes when you create or express. Like, and because you could write down words that mean something to you, more, and they mean more to you than any poem. But that could also unlock something in your experience.
Absolutely. Writing is a process. This is why it's very important to think about, you don't write when you're ready, you write before you're ready. And this comes back to another person who's massively influenced me in her books. Rowena Murray has written a couple of books, How to Write a Thesis, How to Write a Journal Article. And I'll talk about some of the things that I've learned from reading her books. And a key point is, a lot of people wait until they're ready. Once I've done all my reading, then I'll start writing. Once the perfect day comes, then I'm ready, then I'll write. You must start writing before you're ready, because writing is not the end point after you've done everything else. Writing is part of the thinking journey. As you write, you find meaning. As you write, the process of doing it allows you to think about it in a different way. Some things need to be written down, which even if you say it, it's not going to have the same effect. Even if you internally rummage around with it, it's different.
It's a different type of consciousness or function.
Yeah.
And it's different to talking to someone about it. That's great in its own way.
They all have their own benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that way is different. But writing is different to having internal dialogue where it can just be bouncing around a bit quick.
Yeah.
Because it slows it down. It's more intentional when you're writing. But it's also not with the audience. If you're talking to people, it's not in the same way. So it's like this way of consciousness that can be really useful.
They've got their own benefits, all of them. And that's why it's good to have all of them. That's why doing this is wonderful. But it's also a very different practice to the other things I write separately.
Yeah.
As you can tell, we don't script this.
Yeah.
We just keep rambling on. But it is its own way of exploring it. We think whilst we're talking. And that is its own thing. Some things need to be said, other things need to be written down. And they have their own separate benefits of doing so. But so Rowena Murray's things, one is writing as thinking, as the process. And journaling taps into this.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was recently asking, well, what's the end output of the journaling? Well, you don't know. That's the whole point. You have to trust it. And we made the analogy, he was able to see that if you go for a run, then for him, after the 7-mile mark, that's where clarity hits.
Yeah.
And then a totally different, I suppose it's runner's high type thing kicks in. Well, I think there's a writer's high. You have to trust the process.
Yeah.
And you're not looking at the book at the end, as with all the trite things said about running long distances or marathons. It's one step in front of the other. You don't think about the finishing line, because all you'll keep thinking about in that case is that's 26 miles away. But if you keep thinking, how am I breathing? How's one foot in front of the other? How's the balance? Just this next bit. And maybe if you're going to look as far, maybe just going to look as far as the next 20, 30 meters and do that.
Yeah.
It's the same with writing.
Yeah.
You don't look for the end when I'm going to win the Pulitzer Prize. No.
Yeah.
I'm just going to write a little bit in this bit of time that I've got.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust the process. Same with journaling. And journaling is the writing I'm talking about. Even if the audience is just you.
Yeah.
That's still important writing, because it's not me. Loads of people for thousands of years have gone on about how useful journaling is. There's some signal there.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, you doing it has its own benefits.
Yeah. There's an element of enchantedness to it. So, like, I know we all want to be more enchanted in life. I mean, we're enchanted by our phones in a way, but we want to be enchanted in that way of having big memorable experiences, or sitting in nature and going, wow. Or maybe we used to get it from religion, but it's not so much in modern life. We don't get enchanted, but you can be enchanted in your writing. There's times where I've been writing and I'm like lost in it, but I'm also unlocking something in about how I see the world or myself. And I find that happens when I'm trying to write poetry in a certain way. Does that make sense? So it's like, if I'm journaling, I can end up writing like 5 p.m. I went here, and it's just, or writing a to-do list. But this poetry, I'm still looking for ways that bring that enchanted writing. I don't know if that resonates. It's almost like the constraint, or is it the rhyme of the poetry which brings an unlocking? Certainly with songs, the rhyme is important.
Absolutely, and the constraints are where the structure comes from.
The structure, yeah.
So this is actually this is key. This is, like we said in another video, which we'll link to here, how we start. Use the constraints to start. And that's how you get going. If you say, I'm going to write, well, I'm going to write what? So one of the first important points for any, this is something I learned quite early on, and this can apply to whatever you're writing.
Yeah.
Whether you're writing a poem, song, journal article, a speech for a presentation, doesn't matter what you're writing. This is a lovely little thing to start doing. Just at the very top, write audience, purpose,
Yeah.
and just fill that in. And it just gets you into that state of mind that this is a process with that purpose. So you're starting it as a communication.
That's the intention.
That's the intention.
Yeah, which is important when you've got a blank page.
Yeah. But also it will start shaping, and if you keep doing it, it is already going to start at the outset, shape your thoughts towards who you're trying to convey these things to. And it could just be audience, myself, just right now and never again. Purpose, to practice. That's it. It could just be that, but just do it.
Yeah.
And then it could spill out into, I've got a presentation to do for a work gathering.
Yeah.
There's going to be 50 people. So 50 people at a work gathering is the audience. Purpose, to convey the updates on our team's performance and where we go next.
Yeah.
But this is the point. Just getting into that is a really important little hack, I'd say. Important thing to start. And then, as I mentioned, there's a ton of stuff from Rowena Murray, which I use regularly. And not, they're done. It's not just from Rowena Murray. These are things that I think are used very commonly for hundreds of years, probably.
Yeah.
But I learned them from Rowena Murray. Then I started spotting them.
Yeah.
One is topic sentences. Have you come across that in longer writing? So if you're going to do something which needs paragraphs, or has an arc, so similarities in things like journal articles or a thesis or a novel is that you're going to have an arc, and it's usually quite a predictable arc. So in this arc, for a journal article, for example, you're going to have an introduction. The introduction is usually going to be saying, for example, if you're talking about disease, this is a disease defined like this is how many people have it. Or you can have an alarmist way of saying it, like this disease is getting worse and you're much more. So there's different ways of it. But the first part of the arc is defining the disease and why you should be worried about it. And then then you're going to have methods, see where it's going. And that structure is important. So the topic sentences you don't have to write each of the paragraphs. You just have to write the general topic that each paragraph conveys. Now, if you convey it to a story, so you're going to have, let's say, main protagonist. You want to start building a relationship with the protagonist. So a bit of background on the protagonist. You want to know about the context of the protagonist, then something bad happens to the protagonist, then they have a dark period, and then they come to resolution. So you've got...
Hero's journey.
Hero's journey. So you've got 6 stages there. You could have 6 topic sentences. that's all you need to start with, 6 topic sentences.
Yeah. Right.
The main protagonist is a fellow named Chris.
Yeah.
And this is why
Are you the hero's journey in your research papers? You're the hero.
Thankfully, research papers are much more linear and boring than that. Research papers increasingly nowadays, and we'll put some information around this, they're much more formulaic. I know they look impenetrable from the outside, but actually they're the easiest recipe to follow. It's like painting by numbers.
Okay, yeah.
So there's these checklists on websites like equator.org, and they'll tell you, if you've done a study like this is what we want in paragraph 1, this is what we want in paragraph 2.
Okay.
And you just copy out the bits.
Yeah.
So it wants to know how many participants, and who were in each group, and what were it's really straightforward. It's
Building
much more
blocks.
straightforward. Yeah.
That's good. I think I want to collect, I'm interested in that topics writing, but I think I'm collecting different ways to write, certainly in my journal. So like different ways of writing poems, but also like I've started putting a picture in.
Yes.
And then writing about that. That's a cigar label. Poems, pictures, maybe some drawings, but it's just, you collect up these ways to get started.
Absolutely. Another thing about getting started, there's lots of games you can play to get started. So just to get the creative juices flowing, we learned quite an easy thing, which was if you get just something circular and just draw around it, so you've got lots of circles on a page.
Yeah.
And then just at the beginning of if you're planning a writing period, you just want to get things flowing, just for a bit of fun, just spend 5 to 10 minutes just filling those in and drawing random things that are circular. So you could have like a globe, tennis ball, a clock face. Just think of as many round things that you can, and just start drawing them. And it's 5 minutes and it's a nice little exercise just to get you into that space of, I'm going to be creative now.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people are craving that creativity or something to do that's a bit more fulfilling than watching TV or going on your phone. But then there is that resistance to that blank page, and it's a shame really, because if you can find those ways in, it is, because drawing circles doesn't sound like it's, I can understand people's resistance going, oh, what's that going to do? But it is actually rewarding in itself.
It's just, once again, it's trusting the process that you are going to do something next.
Yeah.
But after that, and we've done that exercise before.
Have we?
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah. With Roy.
Yes.
And we came out with a big whiteboard full of ideas after that.
Oh, yeah. So it did lead on to...
It did work.
Yeah.
Because it starts breaking down some of the rigid thinking that you've got, and you're now in a bit more of a playful generative. That was the idea. So yeah, and the topic sentence is a good way into a blank page. So if you're saying that, okay, now I've convinced myself I might want to be a writer, it is for me. Why not me? If you're in that state, now I've got a blank page, topic sentence is a great way in, because you only need to have 6 of them, and then that's pretty much going to start the mainstay of a chapter, and then you start expanding on them. And then you can reverse engineer this into how you plan the spine of the whole piece. So not just the chapter, but the whole book. And then you can, instead of just having topic sentences, now you can start zooming way out into what is the overall message I want to send in the book. At what stage is that going to come? What are the assumptions in the book? And then you can start moving things around. And you can do that in lots of different ways. So a lot of people in the past have used post-it notes. I know there's a lot more tech ways of doing it now. But post-it notes are quite an easy way of having chapter headings. And then you just pop those in, different characters, where am I going to put them?
Yeah.
And we found online, J.K. Rowling's put up the chapter grids for her books with Harry Potter. Now, whether you do whatever you feel about J.K. Rowling, up to you. We're not getting into that debate. But we can accept that she's written books, and they're pretty successful books. But her process is quite neatly demonstrating this structure.
Yeah.
They'll still see something.
I need to look at that a bit more, because the columns were interesting.
Yeah.
One of them was the prophecy. Is that what... I feel like each scene had a prophecy for what was going to happen on the next or something.
Yeah, I think
that's a nice way of thinking about it.
There's also some tools out there, which from Save the Cat by Blake Snyder, which also take that hero's journey-esque route through a story.
Yeah.
And supposedly you're able to pick, if you take films like Ratatouille or The Matrix, they follow exactly these particular arcs of the story.
Yeah.
So once the structure, you can almost just have the headings.
Yeah.
And then with the headings, now come the topic sentences.
Yeah.
And then when you've got a bit more time, the topic sentences can get fleshed out into a bit more about that topic.
Yeah. I'm thinking about magic and materials. So, how you were saying about post-it notes, I was thinking the writing part is really interesting because I use my phone a lot for notes. But something about physically putting it in a physical space, or post-it notes, it works for the brain. When you put it in your phone, I don't think it leaves the imaginary world in a way. Not the imaginary world, but the thought place. It does in a way, but it's not the same as writing it down. So it's a kind of magic. You're taking something that doesn't exist and you're putting it onto physical form. I mean, you can do that with actions. You can turn thought into action, but you don't always want to do that. So you can put that into physical form, and I don't think that should be underestimated. My mentor has a different notebook for each person he works with. So like each client he works with has a physical different notebook to put everything in.
Yeah.
And he says it's amazing to like separate, it's not like going through notes which are just all jumbled in together. It's like, here's a physical thing. After he's put the note back, he puts it in put it on the shelf or whatever, and that's till he needs it. So the compartmentalizing in writing and how you write in that physical way. I've got a notebook that I think is beautiful, and I want to be holding it.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally see that. And there are tech solutions for the same thing. The thing, I think you've identified the key thing. That whilst the physical aspect of keeping it in one place has its benefits there, the problem with it on your phone is, like you say, it's a jumble.
Yeah.
So it's not accessible in a way that you can now move things around, because you can't even find it again because there's so much stuff there.
Well, that phone is a library upon a library upon a library, and you're pouring in your stuff.
And then nobody's cataloguing it.
Yeah, and there's a disrespect to your ideas and thoughts as well.
Very good, yeah. So this is the other thing. I wrote, and I'm sure other packages are available, so this is not in any way advertising, certainly not getting any money from them, but I would recommend... I used Scrivener. I found Scrivener very, very useful. And it is essentially, on a laptop or desktop, it does exactly what you're describing, where it compartmentalizes, it gives structure and respect to your ideas.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you can easily pull things left and right.
Yeah. Even
other resource materials, have them all side by side, and then reorder things, almost like the Post-it notes.
Yeah.
But now it's all electronic.
Yeah. I love using Notion for writing my notes. Yeah.
Just in terms of a big barrier that people find is the actual physical writing, the typing. If you feel like maybe your spelling's not very good, your grammar's not very good, it can feel like a barrier. But nowadays, you can dictate into anything. You can dictate into your phone, you can dictate into Microsoft Word, and so you don't actually have to do any writing. If you can sit and have a conversation with someone and it has a thread and a flow, maybe it's funny in parts, maybe there's a twist, you're telling a story, well, you can write. You just have to do the same thing through the dictation. And then once you've got that bit, if you really want to refine it, you can plug that into an LLM. ChatGPT, what do you think about this? And don't be sycophantic back to me. Be brutally honest. And then you can then have that to and fro. So you've now got this in-house copywriter, editor, now you're the senior editor, and then this back and forth until it gets better and better. It comes on to that point of also just appreciating that this is core to any writing. There are at least two phases.
Yeah.
Probably more like three when you come to bigger pieces. But there is a generative, what we call divergent phase, and there is a editing convergent phase, and you must not mix the two. Generative means you put down every single thing that comes in, especially the bad ideas. Yeah. Especially the bad ideas. You cannot judge any of it. You just need to get it down. I think their analogies have been used of like, it's like dumping the clay onto the table. You shape it afterwards. Yeah. But firstly, you need to get it onto the table. This is the same thing. The generative part is you just write and write and write and you don't stop. It should just keep coming because you're not editing any of it. You're not checking, is this good? It's not. You just have to write. And then that bit's done and you carry on. And when you then come back to look at it again for editing, that's a separate process.
Yeah.
That's a different day.
Oh, I like this. I'm thinking that this is a way to meet your inner critic. So like when you have a blank page, that's a place to meet your inner critic and know it a bit better. Because it will show up. It's like, what are you doing this for? How? This is a waste of time. This is crap.
Yeah.
So it's a way to meet your inner critic. And that first way you said about write anything down is the way to work through it.
Tell the inner critics get lost. This is why are you doing this? It's crap. It's meant to be crap.
Yeah, but the second part is a way to love the inner critic because that critical value is like it's appreciated at that point.
Yeah.
And there's the inner critic's great or the critic's great when it comes in at the right level. So when you've already got where you're going with this idea and you're loving it, and then a bit of critic will come in and go, oh no, that bit's not quite right, or I could do better. It feels good. So it is useful.
But you don't want it at the beginning blocking you entirely.
No.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I like that.
No.
That's a good application of two things.
But but seeing the positivity in it is a way to not fall out with it in that first process.
And a big important part of realizing why it's important to write down all the bad ideas and the rubbish stuff too.
Yeah.
Is that when you later see something rubbish, what you're going to do is it is going to help you to get to the good one. You'll have a few good ideas and the really good one is going to stand out because the other ones around it are not as good.
Yeah. So I'm thinking now of two inner critics. One's the social aspect, like who's going to read this? One's a productivity one, like is this that boredom, frustration vibe? I've forgotten where I was going with this. I got stopped by my inner critic.
It's the vulnerability part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because this is an important thing. It's and Julie Cameron talks about this in The Artist's Way.
Yeah.
That at different stages, you can't just assume that you're going to write something all in one day and it's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And then the first person you give it to is going to stop what they're doing, read it all and give you plaudits and money.
Yeah.
But that's not how it's going to work. So you need to carefully think about your writing process. When you start showing it to, who do you show it to? Who's going to be supportive? So you don't get that re-experience of being a child and having their creativity just tutted at. I remember one of the first pieces of music I wrote, I remember sharing with a music teacher. And a part of Julie Cameron's Artist's Way, like, gets you to revisit some of these things and just write about it and say, like, what are you still carrying around? And I think it's only more recently I started realizing that I've been carrying this around for a while. That I wrote this little guitar composition, showed it to a music teacher. It was probably, the context was, I caught him at lunchtime. He was busy.
Yeah.
And he was just maybe around to say, he found some time to speak to me. Had a listen to it. And his response was, so what?
Oh dear.
If I know. I was like, cut pretty deep. And then I was 13. I was like, oh God. Thankfully, many years later, I finished that song.
Oh, good.
It took a long time coming to get over the so what.
Yeah.
But the thing is that who you share these things with at what stage, to just and to know that it is going to get better and better. And the first few people that you share it with, even if you get it to a publishing house, the editors aren't going to be like, oh, this is magnificent, doesn't need changing at all. They're going to give you feedback too.
Yeah.
But it's all going to make it better and better. And this is part of just trusting the process of editing.
Yeah.
Even in research work, I remember initially having to do some patient-facing documents for research we did. So if you're a participant or a family of a participant coming into clinic, we'd have to write out this information sheet for you. And then we had to give it round to a lot of patient groups, expert patient groups and their families, to what do you think about this? I got all this feedback. And some of it seemed very contradictory, like this is too short, this is too long, this doesn't sound right. And I had all this feedback, and it was about 2 pages, but there was about 10 pages of feedback. And I was really struggling, like, how am I going to make all this? Because what one person doesn't want, and wasn't trusting the process. When I eventually did painstakingly just, okay, person 1 wants this, this, and this, do each one. person 2 wants this. Once I trusted it and got to the end, genuinely the thing that was on the other side of it was beautiful. And much, 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 much better than what I thought was going to be fine. That'll do. Doctor knows best. Well, no. Their input, when I did trust the process and take all that editing and feedback on board.
Yeah.
So this is part of it, that when you get the right feedback and you trust the process, and the right feedback is very different from people who aren't the right people to give you critique or feedback. They're either too busy, maybe they're already hurt, maybe they do want to hurt you.
Yeah.
There are some mean people. And if you show them real creativity, you guarantee that they're going to try and hack you down. You should know before you show them that that's not the person you need to be showing it to.
Yeah, but I don't know if the motivation comes from feedback and people. For me, like, I do like the idea of something being well received, but I think once you get writing and you've got something, you're going with it, it doesn't matter. You can overcome those obstacles of people not liking it. You can share it to someone and they go, oh, crap. And you're like, you don't care because you're already like onto something that you love.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, but what I'm getting at is that at a later stage, when your project takes off in a way, let's say it is a bigger research journal article or something, and so a lot of people's names have to be on the author list.
Okay.
They all have to have a say.
Yeah.
Now, they're not all going to say, this is perfect, not a word needs to be changed.
Yeah.
So just preparing yourself for that.
Yeah.
Now, there's some people who are just going to say that something is crap, and that's because of them. That's a them problem.
Yeah.
I really do need to get going.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
My wife is, what time is it now?
It's 25 past, I think.
So we had to stop the last part of that video short, so I didn't get in trouble. And is the outro ending. He's picking up on the last point that I was trying to make about writing. And I was trying to get at, not just in terms of an author list of people that will be involved. Generally, I think whatever writing project you have, or maybe even any creativity project, you've got one. Are you the only person, the only audience for it? Which is fine if that's the case. Otherwise, at some stage, if it is going to go out to more people, where do people come in? And I think that's important to think about before you're in the project or in love with it, or thinking it's my baby and I'm so emotionally attached.
Yeah.
Think about it before you're in that stage, see that it's coming. I think it applies in loads of different things. Let's say you write a song with a band. So you've got this, you poured your heart and soul into it, you're up all night, you really love it, and you go and show it to the rest of your band, and one or two of the people are like, this is great, and the one's wincing a bit. That we've been there, right, Chris? It's going to happen. It is going to happen. So how do you think it would be best to safeguard yourself against what is inevitable, either editing, feedback, judgment, but it's people getting involved?
Yeah.
Which is what you're trying to help. Maybe not saying in the kindest way, but they are maybe trying to help you.
Yeah. I think it's tricky, isn't it? I think unless you've got complete creative control for what the writing, how the writing shows up, or unless you're playing all the instruments, if it's a song,
Same part.
you might have to let the guitarist start putting heavy distortion across the whole of your relaxing ballad. So you might do that, but how do you prepare yourself? This is a good question.
Suppose you write a screenplay, as I have to do in the future. At some point, maybe I'm going to have to speak to directorial team. The director's going to say, well, we don't have the budget for that, or we've only got this much time. So it's great that you've written this stuff. And that conversation is going to happen. So how, just knowing that this is something which is now taking shape outside of me in a team.
Yeah.
And when you start letting go of that.
Yes.
So I think this is part of the thing, right? You will be happy with something whilst you're forming it, or maybe channeling, or whichever way you think it's happening. You start a writing process, you start a creative process, and then afterwards, once you've done as much as you can, maybe there's a part of just letting go.
Yeah.
And more recently, I think I've started to, for my own way of dealing with this, is just to treat the piece of work as its own entity, like it's a person. Or let's say singing a song. So rather than fretting about what am I going to sound like, or people like the lyrics, or I don't want to sound too American because I don't talk an American accent, so why am I singing an American accent? All of that in a chatter. I've just been thinking to myself, when I perform the song, just perform the song in service of the song. And it removes the me from it. It's not really, what about me? What are they going to think about me?
Yes.
But if I can do the best version of this song that I can on this occasion,
Yeah.
I'll do.
Yeah. That makes sense. Because then it's also nice when other people have some passion around it or some vision and the energy gets behind the project.
Yeah.
You've got to let it go a bit.
Absolutely. It gets really exciting once you've got, and I suppose this is the other part of it, knowing that other people are going to get involved at some stage, but also starting to get an idea of who those people are.
Yeah.
Where there might be some people that maybe are not ready. Like they might want to get involved, but they don't have the communication skills or the experience to give feedback in a helpful manner. I'll put my hands up. I was one of those people once and lost a really close friendship through music.
Yeah.
Made great music with this guy. And I had to learn, sadly, through that experience that you can't be too bullshit pushing things through.
Yeah.
Working out who you can collaborate with, who you're going to need. Are they helpful? Do they fit? Are they a good fit for what you're doing?
Well, there's a whole communication skill that being in bands when you're younger, when I look back, I'm like, I really didn't say what I was looking for. I wasn't able to communicate in a way that's like that constructive. Sometimes just not saying. So I think when you feel confident in yourself to communicate with people that you don't want something to change, then you're a bit more easy to go with some of the changes. You feel less threatened.
Also, there's that thing that's come over time, isn't there? I'm having more trust and faith that however strongly I feel about my iteration of something, just having faith that let's just see how it goes in another way.
Yeah.
And even if I've come into the thing going, I've planned it exactly like this down to a T. If everyone just does exactly what I say,
Yeah.
this is going to go perfectly and everyone's going to love it. Just let go before that point of like, let people in.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, it's still going to be a team game. And if you're a very harsh conductor, they feel less like a team game, or they might play it once or twice, but they're not want to play with you afterwards.
Yeah. That feels like it fits in nicely with the artist way. I think that's a bit like getting out of the way, not being too precious. It's channeling almost an idea. So the poetry is in the world, in whatever, and it comes through you. And then when it goes through other people, that's the poetry going through them. So, but if you don't feel like you created it too strongly, it's easier to let it flow through.
Exactly. I think that comes also with time.
Yeah.
It certainly looked at things much more differently over the years. That what idea is really ever yours? We're all so influenced. We all learn the same things. People are coming up with similar ideas all the time. How much is genuinely ours?
Yeah.
You're lucky enough that if you've had good collaborations, good education, good opportunities, and good inspiration, things will come through you. If you get grabby about them, I find that it almost robs you of the ability to have more of them. I found that if you just focus channel and don't get too grabby, they keep coming.
Yeah.
This is a great idea. And just hide it away and just be super paranoid about it.
Yeah.
It stops stuff coming through, I found.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, and I think the concept ties back into the name of the channel. We called it iterations. It's because one part is that we're not trying to say we've got a finished product at the top, right?
Yeah.
We're not forcing the agenda. All of these ideas with at the moment thinking that we'll refine them, do further iterations along the same topics, maybe combine those, but we're just putting them out there, letting this language go.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is we found when we're chatting between us, stuff that we didn't even expect just suddenly comes out. And that's what's super enjoyable.
Yeah.
But all of that's trust. And who can you trust to allow the creativity out and take shape and then be less grabby about it?
Yeah. And I would say, though, if you do have a fully formed idea for like a song, how you want the parts to be, and it does come like that, and right, you can stick to that or whatever you're writing. If it does feel like you've got it, but you can hold that in a so precious way and communicate it well.
Yeah, communicate it well. This is the absolute key thing. Because work out why are you wanting to guard something? Is it because you're actually quite sure that this is the work as you want it to be? Or is there an insecurity thing happening there? Where not being ready for feedback or criticism might mean that you're not allowing other people into that creative process when actually that's what you want.
Yeah.
And another thing that can help is just just getting a lot of experience in as many fields as possible of failure and rejection and negative feedback, and then realizing that you get through it and you do have good times afterwards.
Yeah.
There's so many stories of people in the creative arts, writers, directors, actors, people in academia, just over and over again, failure and not getting the part or not getting the grant or not getting the research paper published in the journal that you'd intended the first time you try is the norm. Is the norm. This is what happens on the other side from the audience's side. They think what they see is a finished product. And when they see a finished product, they perceive it and enjoy it in a different way. And they think, and I think it lends itself to thinking, well, this person's really talented and they just came along and did this and it came to this. And now I won't be able to get there. Well, you're not really taking into account all the times they failed, got rejected, and had to try again, iterate again. But getting a lot of those failures and rejections under your belt, this is just normal. I think it's vitally, vitally important. I think it's a really great example of one of the songs I adore, A Helicopter by Bloc Party.
Yeah.
And there's a break, from what I've read, so I love going down rabbit holes for Bloc Party. From what I've read, I think that if you watch any video of Helicopter live, they always finish with it for many, many years, many, many tours, and the crowd goes wild. Anyone who's got a Helicopter for the first time, there are a few songs as rousing and full of energy. From what I read is that certain members of the band can't not hear the disagreements that they had at certain points of the song with other people in the band. So they're like, it doesn't quite sound good. I always wanted this to be different. And so you can see the difference between the two. If you listen to Helicopter, you think, I can see why they had a fight about that.
Yeah.
You just hear this perfection. From the creator's side, there can be something very different. So it's quite interesting to see the two.
Yeah. That is interesting. But so it needed from the audience's point of view, it needed those different ideas to be fully formed.
Because you're seeing it in a different way. You're not part of the process. You just hear a song.
Yeah.
You don't know the history of who might have disagreed at what part of the song. So you're just getting this finished product. And if you hear it on a wonderful, hot, sunny day when you're full of energy, it's going to stick in there and do amazing things to you. And you'll have no clue what was on the other side. This is what's so interesting, that there can be all these different perceptions of the same thing. And how can we then, knowing that, make our own experience of how it's going to be perceived in all these different ways as easy as possible. The whole thing about creativity is like, it can be great fun. So I would lean into making it as fun as possible.
I'm just curious if you've ever anything ever written anything that's just spewed out with like zero like thought about the audience, or even the inner critic, where it's almost like you've not had to come back to it at all, almost?
Absolutely. Oh my God. Well, I'm not at some point in the future. I'll put a link to this. It's not even anywhere online. But when I was leaving, when I was in the process of leaving my old career in neurosurgery, very difficult time. And to leave something that you've been doing for over a decade and go and do other things, it's quite mentally challenging to try and think of what life might be like on the other side when you've been so used to the same thing. What people say, what am I going to do? What if it doesn't work? All this stuff. But during that time, I just remember waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and feeling like I needed to go to the toilet. Suddenly, very strong feeling like I need to go to the toilet. It was about May 2024. And I went to the toilet, nothing happened. Very odd. And then went back to try and go back to sleep. And then I could just feel as though I needed to start writing. So I just got my phone, notes open, and just started typing. And this entire poem came out. This entire poem, just start to finish, no pauses, right to the end. And then after I'd finished writing, it almost felt as you do once you've been to the toilet and you feel the relief of doing so. And I was just able to go straight back to sleep. And I woke up the next day and I just saw this poem. It's called Because. It was about the reasons why I needed to change my life. And it was, I love that piece. I've shared it with a few people. I don't think I'm fully ready to share it just yet. At some point in the future, I might play a link from this.
That sounds good. Yeah.
No, it might offend a lot of people. It's like, anyway.
It's interesting though, because I really like I'm really drawn into the tweaking, especially something that's a poem or a song. I'm just thinking now whether I get addicted to that tweaking and whether I should let it more just flow out.
Certainly with music, you can tweak the heck out of something.
Yeah.
But beyond recognition of what it was in the first place. And if you don't save each one of those files.
Yeah.
Major issue. Have you had the experience of something just channeled through you?
Yeah, I can't really think what. I think some music and maybe like a poem. I still think my go-to is to like keep going over, tweaking and change, especially with rhyme, to think through the words. But yeah, when I open myself up to that, something flowing. I'm thinking with poems, probably need to know there's different stanzas and types of poem, and they have a certain rhythm. I'm thinking I probably don't know them that well. For that to flow out.
Yeah.
But when I have started writing poems, it does follow some rhythm, maybe some children's books and stories which have that. But it's the same for writing a book or fiction or something. It's still a rhythm to sentences that just does flow out. Like if you thought each subject, object, verb, adverb as you go along, you're probably very clunky and slow. But when you're speaking, the writing has to be like you're speaking. I think very in your flow, really.
Definitely, especially as that first iteration, that first draft, the generative phase, as we said, the divergent generative phase, where you're just letting things down, putting the clay on the table. Just the ideas out. Doesn't matter. Judge them, just keep putting them. I think that's a really good point. There've been, as well as the warm up creativity exercises, just doing some practices that allow you to know that you don't have an issue when an idea comes to open up a phone or get a piece of paper out, and you can trust that you're just going to write.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's important to have a variety of different types of either writing practices or creative writing games or little creativity games, just that you can use all of these so that your body is ready. It knows, oh, I'm going to be creative now.
Yeah.
Something comes, you're not then stuck in either maybe the prejudgment of what's coming out word by word. Oh no, that's not the generative. That's not the generative process. Just let it flow. There are little games like there's an equivalent like Exquisite Corpse.
Yes.
Do you remember that? There's a game where you draw a top part of maybe a head of person, you fold it up and give it to a friend, and then they draw the torso.
Yeah.
Hold it up and then draw the legs and have a look at what's happened. Well, we did a creative writing equivalent where you can just start with setting,
Yes.
character, something bad that happens to them, action on it. And then you just piece these things together and pass them around in a group. Just have a little look and a little read, loosens things up so you're just ready to write. Because I think what that game does in particular, which is helpful, is that it takes the expectation of something great already at the other end of it out. Because it's a mismatch of people, you don't know what the person's written before. So it's just all fun to just think, oh, well, here's a random thing that could come next.
Yeah. And that does really go with the flow thing, because you're only doing a sentence at a time, probably, or there's enough constriction, and you're just adding to the branch.
Right.
An easy way in.
And this going back to what we were talking about earlier with Rowena Murray talking about snap writing versus binge writing.
Yeah.
It's vitally, vitally important. Once you're free enough to do sentences, that's it. You're away. Because games can be, I can just write sentence. And actually, as with making that comparison to runners again, runners don't think about the whole distance. I think whenever you watch, or I barely jog for short distances anyway, but any time that I've seen anyone talk about it and my own tiny experience of it, you only focus on the next step of it.
Yeah.
You might think of 20 meters ahead and just keep doing that. Same with writing. If you can write a sentence or you can write a paragraph, that's how the whole thing comes together. But it has to be that bit. And I think the snack writing part of it, rather than waiting for a perfect day where you're going to have 7 or 8 hours uninterrupted, where you're going to sit and just beautifully write and nothing is going to bother you. That might not happen, especially as life goes on, you've got other commitments. But if you can get used to snack writing where I'm on a bus and I know that I just need to write a paragraph about what this character looks like on the morning after this terrible event. That's the only thing I'm going to write on this bus. It's going to be 3 sentences long. It's going to describe the terrible events happen, and the next morning this person wakes up. And that's all in a 15-minute bus journey.
Yeah.
You just got 3 things that you want to say about this person. Job done. That's snack writing.
Yeah.
So rather than the whole thing, and then once you start chunking things up, then you might not even keep those 3 sentences. It doesn't have to be there. But now you can start putting it into either, like I said, the Post-it notes format or a Scrivener or something like that, where you're start able to move these bits around. And then when you see them, then you'll think, yeah, I want that, don't want that. Actually, we could expand on that.
Yes.
And this is how little bits, and prompts, once again, for Rowena Murray, hugely helpful in academic work, but I think it applies to everything else as well. Just have this, if you, we'll have a little look online so we can link you to it, but creative writing prompts are really, really helpful. So you could have prompts around or ask your LLM to generate. I'm trying to write a hero's journey story. Can you give me a set of creative writing prompts to answer?
Yeah.
It will be things like, what did this character in the dark night of the soul part of it start to realize that at the very beginning they never could? And then just answer that and start putting it down. And all of these little chunks, these little snacks of writing, don't to be longer than 15 minutes, half an hour. And before you pop them all.
Maybe we should record a video doing that.
Okay, that's an interesting proposition. But if you generally enjoyed the things that we're talking about here, about creativity, about mental blocks and things like that, they'll go pop up 2 videos next on the end screen. One is going to be our latest video as ever, and the other one is going to be me talking about doing deep work and the experiences I have, and Chris asking about it from the perspective of someone who identifies as having ADHD.
Right.